FC Cincinnati survive another week of visa watch and international duty. The club escaped Charlotte with a point thanks to Argentinian magic, and fans moved right along to the "why is Brandon and Matt not starting" match on Sunday. So pretty busy this week. These complaints seem very justified, however, as we all stared down at what a 0-0 draw about 65 minutes into a match. And then our guys get subbed in and bam, magic happened for I guess both teams. But boy, that was an entertaining match. And I hope you didn't need to wake up early the next morning because it was a long one as well. This episode of Cincinnati Soccer Talk is extra fun to talk about because we've got comebacks and PK shootouts to go over this week. I'm joined by a great cast of hosts tonight. Some of these guys have been missing for a week or two, so it's good to hear voices again. First, let's welcome in the guy who declined to watch the United States men's national team and instead watched FC Cincinnati 2 because he's an addict. Welcome in, Rob. How you doing, buddy?
I watch both for the record, but I was watching that SCC2 game, so I can tell you all about it when the time comes.
All right, we appreciate it. No, I thought that was funny. We all started like our U.S. men's national team talk, and then Rob pops in and he's like, "Hey, we're playing in Chicago. This is what's going on." I was like, "Oh yeah, I forgot all about it."
Yeah, there are about 15 fans there, which is about how many were paying attention in our Slack channel. So, yeah.
No, we really appreciate it. I thought that was cool. I really did think that was cool because I'm a nerd. But good eye realizing it. All right, well, next up, we will jump to Jason. How you doing, sir?
Doing great. Just got off a podcast with our folks over in New York, New Jersey. So previewing Wednesday's match, and so I'm looking forward to.
Was that with the legend Mark Fishkin?
The man, the myth, the legend, Mark Fishkin, Seeing Red. So if you want to hear me pretend to know what I'm talking about twice this week, that you can hear me on that as well.
I remember back in the day, we got him on one of our early podcasts, and we were like, "We got Mark Fishkin on." It was kind of like a cool thing when you're a nobody, and you get this MLS podcaster over back in your USL team. Brian Weigel. He joins us. We didn't know if he'd be here tonight, but he made it. How you doing, bud?
Fine. I'm trying to get us live on Facebook, but it looks like we're getting shadow banned by Mark Zuckerberg. So talking smack about what's the new social media he has?
Threads.
So, Threads. Okay.
Terrible, Mark.
Yeah. So sorry if you can't watch us tonight, but appreciate you guys downloading and excited to talk about the week that was.
That's all right. I'll put a comment over on our Facebook channel so they know to go to YouTube. Oh, okay, cool. So we'll Brian's on top of things as usual. The co-host that normally runs these shows, to be honest with you. I'm just a voice, and he's the real backing of Cincinnati Soccer Talk. But he didn't get our wonderful sponsorship with Apollo Home. That was all me. You probably already know Apollo Home for their heating and cooling services, but did you know that they have an in-house excavation department to help you with your underground water line and sewer repairs? If you are having issues with your water line, drain lines, or sewer lines, give them a call. It is a free visit for one of their specialists to come on site to your home and provide written estimates. Visit apollohome.com to schedule. And seriously, we've actually had a decent number of fans reach out and tell us that this has actually helped them. So that is cool because, one, they're supporting local soccer content and keeping our crap free for everybody to listen to. But also, if you really do have a problem with your house, these guys exist to help you. So it's a win-win there. Let's get into your best and worst of the week. You got Charlotte. You got the United States. You could go either way. You could even talk about some random guy that showed up in town this week. We'll go to you, Rob, first.
Well, the best for me is just that second goal that FC Cincinnati scored in their comeback. Both the passing from Acosta, the vision that he showed, he nutmegs the guy who's trying to mark him, hits it into space, perfect weight on it for Barriel, and then he makes a cutback that leaves the Charlotte defender looking for his compression shorts, and then hits this left-footed drive, nutmegging yet another Charlotte player around the keeper, curving inside the far post. I mean, it was just a fantastic goal at any level, any league. I'm afraid we get spoiled about these things, actually. And the combination that these two guys, the connection that these two guys have is just becoming better and better. And that goal was the cherry on top of the whole thing of that great comeback. And I feel like had it not been for going down a man, FC Cincinnati would have won that game yesterday. But that goal in itself was just a piece of magic.
Lucho didn't get his nutmeg quota in, so Barreal had to help him out on that.
Yeah, I mean, but he did have one on the pass.
He did.
If you watch it, he megged this guy. But yeah, he's.
I saw
he made the team of the week, and Barreal made the bench team of the week for MLS, whatever that means. But they were both excellent.
Yeah, MLS is going to need to stop tracking assists and goals. It needs to be nutmeg assists and nutmeg goals.
The funny part about Barreal is like the first 30 minutes of the past 2 matches, I've been like, who is this guy? Where did our Barreal go? Like, he's just not hit the pace on balls right. And then all of a sudden he comes out and performs well, especially the second half of this past week. So I was happy to see him turn it on after such a tough first half.
Yeah, Barreal just seems to, if he doesn't show up, he will. That's the beautiful thing about him. Costa is always there for you. Barreal will be there for you when you need him the most. Well, that's what my wife says anyway. Let's talk a little bit about this though. Charlotte really takes over. The first part of that match. I think it caught me off guard. You're talking about a team sitting right about that 13th or 15th place. I know it's their house. And did you guys pay attention to this? They sold a lot of tickets for this game. So they opened up the upper decks here in Charlotte. The fans get re-energized. They've had a rough season. It's not a good year to be a Charlotte supporter, but they get re-energized and they show up and they show out. They get loud, and I don't know. Is FC Cincinnati gets a little intimidated on the road? This is not the first road struggle we've seen in a few weeks. Are we losing our magic?
You sound like the hosts on Apple Plus this weekend. Jeez, this team doesn't know how to battle back. They've been on top of everything. There's no way they're able to battle back. They don't have a spine. They can't do this.
If you're a commentator though, and you see that FC Cincinnati's only been behind twice in the season.
Just because it's happened twice doesn't mean it's their shtick. They can't battle back. I mean, this team has so much damn firepower, and it's tough to play on the road. It's a reality in Major League Soccer. Yeah, with private charter flights now with the league, is it going to get easier? Hopefully, but the depth's still not there. And I mean, let's face it, it's still tough to play on that surface and be in a hostile environment. So I thought we played fine in what is it, their XG 0.17 after the first half. Charlotte's, and they had 2 goals, something bizarre. So I mean, it is what it is. It
was interesting seeing the patronizing tweets at halftime. It's okay, FC Cincinnati fans. Even good teams play poorly, and it's we've lost on the road already this year in bad ways. So
twice, yes,
twice. So that's nothing new. And then we turn around and bring it back. I agree. If had it not been for the red card, we very well could have won. We were in it for the whole time.
And here's a coincidence about all 3 of those teams. And I know Benteke, I don't think Benteke scored, but he definitely occupied the center backs. All 3 of the teams that we've had challenges with on the road, St. Louis, DC, and Charlotte, have 3 top-end forwards. And it's just difficult, even though we have 3 in the back. And I think all 3 of those games were missing starters. So, I mean, it's tough. It's tough in those instances.
I thought Pat Noonan in his post-match quotes, he credited the team for having a fighting spirit to come back, but rightly he was very critical about particularly just the team defending in the first half. And Brian, we were talking a little bit online before about just the nature of the goals. Both goals I thought were quite avoidable. Particularly that second goal, which I thought the finish was quite lucky, but just to allow the guy that free serve in that way, that's inexcusable for for a team that's sort of known for hard work and fighting, and somebody dropped the ball big time on that second goal to allow the free serve into the box.
I had a false confidence. I listened to some of our midweek podcasts that come out, Coach's podcast and Jeff's podcast, and Jeff's importantly because he had that Charlotte fan on with that sweet Southern accent, and he gave, I don't know, maybe it was something about the accent, but that Charlotte fan was down in the dumps, and he gave a very negative view of his club and his coach, and how disorganized they are, and how terrible they play, and how they're out of position all the time. And so I went into this match. I went to an FC Cincinnati watch party with some friends, and I show up, and they're like, "Hey, Boston, you do a podcast. How are we going to do tonight?" And I was like, "We're going to do great," because I listened to a Charlotte fan talk about how bad they are, and we're going to do well. I was like, you got a betting app, whip it out, go ahead and bet. FC Cincinnati's got to win for sure. And I look like an idiot about 30 minutes into that match.
We are a beatable team. We are difficult to beat, but we can be beaten if you can employ the tactics that St. Louis, DC, Charlotte, and specifically Chicago have employed against us. Turn the ball and get your butt upfield quick. Get our center backs on their back heels and turn us around, and that's the way you can score. And let's face it, in every single game that we've lost or tied or it's been close, there's been freak goals like this. So we just, in the past, we've always been able to snuff it out. We have Miazga cleaning things up, Mascara cleaning things up, and just we didn't have that this weekend. It's challenging. I think on the first goal, Mascara had everybody's banging on him, but Hagelin too. I think that was Hagelin's fault, and maybe a little bit of Celentano, but you kind of see Mascara running in, and then he kind of checks up, like maybe looking back behind, trying to cover that second option that really wasn't there. So I don't blame him as much. And then the second goal, as you said, fluky, just crazy, weird. I mean, it wasn't even his foot; it was the spikes.
Yeah, he just stuck his leg out, honestly, and then I think it took a very slight deflection as well. But again, if you allow somebody to literally like back up 3 steps like a 5-year-old soccer player and then hit the ball, absolutely free, man, well, that's a chance on goal then.
So are you talking about the FC Cincinnati game, or are you talking about Matt Miazga and the waning seconds of the USA Canada game?
Oh man.
Ooh. I was talking about the FC Cincinnati game.
Okay.
However, you did touch on what was my worst of the week. I don't know if I'm speaking out of turn if I start talking about the scheduling.
He completely forgot about me too. Don't worry.
For the Gold Cup? Okay. All right. Go ahead then.
No, you're good. You're up. Go.
Well, I'll just come out and say it. It is an absolute joke. I'll say it a little cleaner than I said it in Slack. Absolute joke for a federation and their main league in that same federation to have this kind of conflict, and they've had it every year. You don't need to have a Gold Cup every year, first of all. Secondly, that they can't coordinate the schedule, and some of this is on CONCACAF, some of this is on MLS. But for a team to have 2 of its best players to be out for, 6-7 games in the middle of the season, you can't coordinate any better than that. The only other place where I think there's that kind of conflict is the African Cup of Nations. But even then, it's not with the clubs in their own continent. It's with European clubs. A team like FC Cincinnati or any MLS team should not have to go through that stretch with that. They're going to shut down all of these things for this made-up tournament coming up here next month. Why can't they coordinate for their own Confederation Championship? I mean, you could go about 8 different directions with this. All of them would be an improvement than what we have right now, where a team like ours, and there are other teams affected this way too, have to do without their best players. There's no excuse for that.
Okay, so it's a second-rate continental championship. We're not even playing our best players, right? And so are you saying that we should like push the Gold Cup to where the Leagues Cup is and compete over the Women's World Cup?
So the Women's World Cup is an X factor in it this year. Okay, I'll grant you that. However, so our top choice players for the national team, most of them are playing overseas, right? That starting 11 that played in the Nations League, those are just about all of them playing at clubs in Europe. And the way the schedule is set up, that was the tournament of choice because they need a break at some point from a long European season before they start their preseason, which those clubs are starting about now with the preseason. So I get that they chose to play in that. But then for the Gold Cup, then to come up behind and play this month-long tournament, and again, every year, not every 2 years or every 4 years.
I think it's every 2 years.
Every 2 years. It's every 2
all
years.
right, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Your point is very valid, though.
Yeah.
This,
though, yeah.
I disagree. I mean, it affects what 10% of players in the league,
but it affects MLS disproportionately.
Well, it's going to affect them. It's affected them this way for every year since they've had the tournament.
True. I see Rob's point. I kind of agree with him agree with you, Rob, to a certain extent.
I just have to push back, guys.
No, I think you both have a point. I think Rob has a good point because it is every 2 years, which if you look at other confederations and their big tournaments like the Euros, Copa America, those things are every 4 years. And CONCACAF has decided that the Gold Cup, which is supposed to be their biggest tournament, the Confederations Championship, is second fiddle to this Nations League thing that they're doing. I think they do that every year now. And that is now the premier tournament where you get your top players from MLS and Liga MX who are playing overseas. Now we're seeing, Gold Cup is affecting MLS more because it's, a lot of the B squad players, and CONCACAF has decided this is the B squad tournament. It used to not be that way. It's always been every 2 years, which is far too much, but it used to not affect MLS as much as it does now.
Because it used to be 1 year would be like, let's say World Cup year, and then it'd be like big cycle. So all your best players would play, because then you'd have like whatever, like Confederations Cup or whatever. My point is, Rob, is that the league owes the league owes the U.S. nothing. I mean, yeah, you want to grow the team and, it helps your players, but in reality, they need to focus on what makes them money, what grows them the most. And I think that this Leagues Cup, man, like I'm juiced up for it. I mean, if we're going to prioritize this thing and make this our Champions League or, version, I guess, light, I think this is where we need to put our ducks in there and start.
You might be the only person's jazzed about it,
dude.
Yeah,
it's going to be huge.
I was just wondering that.
Be huge.
Really, what I mean, it's not
Huge.
that I'm against Leagues Cup. What I'm saying is, if we can alter the MLS schedule for the Leagues Cup, why can't we alter the MLS schedule for the Gold Cup? So it's not just on
because it affects 100% of your players. The Leagues Cup.
No, right. But what I'm saying, though, is, again, is it really impossible to take a couple of weeks off, at least for the group stage of the Gold Cup, so you don't have to, for teams that don't have to lose their players, the top players? I mean, sure, it's not everybody. It's 10% or whatever it is, but it still affects games. I mean, it affects us, I think, disproportionately, doesn't it?
There is an insane amount of tournaments this year.
I'll tell you in 2026.
Really heavy.
I'll tell you in 2026 when we host the World Cup, Rob.
Well, surely we're going to shut down we're going to shut down for a month and a half then, right?
They always do.
All right.
It's like
not
the NHL.
Historically, not always.
It's like the NHL closing for the Winter Olympics. Actually, they don't do that anymore. Oh, that's right.
I think if you move the Gold Cup to every 4 years, this wouldn't be as big of a problem.
Yeah, but how would CONCACAF make any money?
Do they make money on the Gold Cup?
Bribes.
I guess through TV rights.
Did you see the resale values? Of course they did.
Oh, you guys made money on the Gold Cup. That's what it was.
Yeah, they got to take that 10% commission off the top.
Yeah, I think CONCACAF did just fine. There's a reason all these games are played in the States.
My point is there's no perfect solution for all this, and you can't compete against the women. You can't push more games. So basically, if you take a 2-week break, that means you're going to push more games in a congested schedule. And so you either have to forego the Leagues Cup or not. And that's going to be your moneymaker, man. It's a huge deal with Apple Plus, so you got to do it.
See, Brian, I don't have to parent younger children anymore, so I am adopting the younger child argument of I want Brandon and Matt to be on the field right now. And that's all that matters.
You're not the only one. There's a lot of fans in FC Cincinnati land that were a little bit torn on whether they wanted their country to win. You saw it on Facebook. You saw it on Twitter. I saw straight up fights on one of the Facebook pages because somebody said they wanted the United States to lose, and then the more patriotic members were like, "Screw you," and it got a little heated. So
Heresy.
Club versus country kind of comes out when you're watching your team draw 2-2 to Charlotte, and you think you should have won that game. So we got way off topic. Brian, best and worst.
I think the progression of Marco Angulo and the impact that he made coming onto the field, I think he has grown leaps and bounds since the beginning of the year, and I'm very excited to see what he's going to do. I think he still needs to kind of settle in defensively a little bit better, but overall, being able to progress that ball, seeing where he needs to go, and developing those relationships, you're seeing his progression better and better every week. I'm very excited about that. And then my second favorite, best of the week, Fortress TQL, baby. Come into Cincinnati and try to beat us. We'll give you 3 handballs. We'll give you penalties. We're still going to beat you. So pretty pumped about that. Worst of the week is BJ Callahan. Play our damn guys earlier. The only way you're going to win this tournament is by playing Brandon Vazquez and Jesus Ferreira at the same time. You've seen it against good teams. You need them both. Friggin' do it.
You know, there was some Columbus fans out there, like just
but they're idiots.
When Canada goes up 2-0, they're just sitting there like, "Oh, Cincinnati lost its magic. We're gonna be back in the spotlight, baby."
2-1, not 2-0, but I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
Actually, St. Louis is like, we're gonna be the new host.
And then of course we win in PKs. We're like, not so fast. Jason. Yeah. Best and worst.
My best, we did salvage a point out of Charlotte. That could have been a disaster. We've seen this team drop goals early and then just have an absolute dumpster fire of a game from then on out. Saw it in St. Louis, saw it in DC. Could have seen it in Charlotte that had, dumpster fire written all over it. The team was able to battle back. I really love that. Worst, poor backline play continues. We've already kind of hit on it, but that kind of transitioned over to the U.S. men's national team too, with Matt Miazga getting caught out by himself and getting beat for a goal. So, yeah, the backline all around on both U.S. men's national team and FC Cincinnati needing some work.
Oh, you're a little hard on him. I thought he did okay. He still got in front of that ball. It just bounced off his inner thigh, right?
Yeah, I mean, they had him dead to rights. Matt was left hung out to dry on that counter, so you can't really fault him too much, but it sucks when it's, an FC Cincinnati guy in the home stadium. You're like, oh no, don't do that.
I will say though, we'll lead into my best. Matt almost made it a double goal night for Cincinnati boys because he was probably the best defender on the ball, especially in the second half. But he had a couple opportunities there to make a defensive goal, or at least a goal from a defender, right? And add to the tally after Brandon scored. And I thought there was 2 chances. I thought, wow, it's going to be the Cincinnati show at the United States men's national team. And so that was the dream, right? The dream is getting at least one of your guys to score, but it almost was the dream of both of them to score. Yeah. So that was pretty cool to see how well he played, at least offensively. The worst, how the heck are neither of these guys starting in the match? Like, if you're even the coach, don't you realize like the home crowd is right there and you still don't care? I kind of wonder if they like Brandon coming off the bench at this point because he's provided 3 goals off the bench.
It's probably Berhalter saying, look, I'm not going to call in Brandon anyway, so just you don't need to worry about playing him.
I saw a meme today about Ferreira. It just said like Ferreira versus Caribbean clubs, and it was just like the little weak the mighty SpongeBob, and then it was like him versus any team that actually can play the United States, and it was just like the weak little SpongeBob meme. Good one because it's true.
Good story, Boston.
No, I'm telling you, Brandon needs to play the serious games.
Nothing sells a meme like describing the meme.
Well, it's all I have, guys, is a microphone. I can't put it up.
Just mentioning SpongeBob is a big ratings boost, isn't it?
Jeez. Gator zoned best. Oh, this is Justin Blair. Come on, work. Best midfield depth is a non-issue now. I mean, we'll see what happens if you jinx us by an injury. I'm gonna kick your butt. Worst, Brian's Leagues Cup take. Isn't it ironic that I'm like, let's go Leagues Cup, and in the same breath, I'm like, why are we wasting time playing U.S. Open Cup matches?
Yeah. I really want to see how many Chivas fans show up for that game, because they tend to travel very well.
The resale value of those tickets is insane.
Yeah. Now, but if you do that, are you hurting FCC if you're selling it to supporters of the Mexican team?
If you care about Leagues Cup, then
sure. It is. I will say this, and because when I lived out west in Salt Lake, RSL played Tigres in the CONCACAF Champions League one year when I was out there. That was the most fun I've had at a soccer match in a long time. It was a close match, but the Tigres fans were just spectacular. Loved it.
Yeah, no, I'm all for it. I hope we win. I want to do well in this thing. I realize this year we have so much going on and resting our players, integrating our players like they were talking about with Aaron Boupendza. I think that's going to be valuable. So I'm not holding my breath on us advancing far this year, but I am very excited. I mean, even just look at last year, like that was a friendly versus Chivas, but like that was still a really fun game.
I've been paying attention, Brian, and I think you've just bought into the MLS League hype, because they have been pushing this match via Twitter ads, via emails, via promotions inside the stadium.
I have a long-term view, baby. I'm not you short-sighted U.S. Open Cup truthers out here. So awful. I love it.
I will say if the league wants to make a big deal out of this, in my opinion, they have been doing so.
Dude, the only reason why we got Messi is because Apple. Whatever Apple wants us to do, if they want us to put Apple on the back of our shirts, if they want to put a tattoo on Jason's arm of the Apple, let's go. I'm all for it, babe.
Do you think they're promoting Leagues Cup as hard in Mexico as they are here in the United States? That's what I kind of wonder.
That's a great question, because the TV situation there was in flux. I know I want to say Univision was going to broadcast it, but then they backed out. So I think I think Apple just recently was awarded the Mexican, or at least some of the Mexican markets.
We should. I think we have Tony Cherchi coming on tonight, and we should ask him.
Maybe.
Oh yeah, that'd actually be a great question. Totally didn't think of it, so that's kind of says something about me there. But no, I kind of wonder, because as far as promotion goes, if the U.S. Open Cup got half the promotion this Leagues Cup gets, I feel like it would be a much bigger tournament. But MLS is throwing some serious money behind it.
Yeah, because people want to see. Never mind, I'm not going to do it. Dude, I hate that argument so much. People want to see the big teams. They want to see. The
U.S. Open Cup semifinals is literally the top team in the league versus Messi. That should be on every commercial ever.
The do for Tigres. Yeah, but the semifinal. Who cares about Richmond? The only Richmond I care about is AFC Richmond. Come on now.
You have the argument. I'm playing devil's advocate on the U.S. Open Cup, because you have people make the argument, and I somewhat agree, that it's a lot like March Madness, where you have Lehigh knocking off Duke.
But nobody cares.
Nobody cares about Lehigh knocking off Duke?
No, nobody cares about the other way around here, nobody cares about Richmond knocking off DC.
So, and that part of the problem is...
So sell it when FC Cincinnati plays Messi. That's something to care about.
You care about
marketing behind it.
You care about Gignac playing Messi or Gignac playing Lucho and those guys. That's what you care about. You care about Tigres and Club America. You don't care about Tampa Bay Rowdies. No offense, I love them. That's why. That's why you prioritize Leagues Cup. We went down this rabbit hole. We're stuck in FC Cincinnati. I love it. I can go all night.
It's because we're bitter. We're enemies on this, because I don't agree with you. I just think it's a sales problem.
I agree with
you. Should care about Tampa Bay Rowdies versus Major League Soccer. It's a cool story.
Tampa Bay doesn't even care about Tampa Bay.
Unused sub guys are going to be real mad if they hear you talk about that.
Sorry, USL fans will listen to the show.
Come on. If Tampa
Well,
Bay cared about Tampa Bay, they'd be in MLS.
If you're comparing interest levels, then sorry for bringing this up, but then how do these matches compare to the annual Charlie, what's his name, coming in with the English teams and playing exhibition matches? It looks like Peacock
ICC?
and NBC are going to be televising
The
it.
ICC?
Yeah, that old
Charlie Still
whatever they're calling it, whatever they're
Yeah.
calling it now. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you feel like the MLS games have gotten to a point now where they're just as, if not more popular than some of these glorified exhibitions?
I think you're looking at two different audiences there.
Thank you.
The glorified exhibitions are for the dorks who post pro rel stuff online, and the U.S. Open Cup and MLS tournaments are for people who actually care about their local clubs.
Dude, or
I mean, the ICC is for Ben Fast to have a picture and say, look, all these people showed up at Raymond James Stadium. Clearly, we need pro rel because Chelsea's playing, Real Madrid C team.
I was very excited to
What
have
does that have to do with relegation?
I was very
It
excited to
doesn't.
have
You need to follow this guy on Twitter. He's nuts.
Yeah, nuts. I was very excited to have our Apple TV guest on tonight, but we'll see if he comes on or not. Hopefully he does. It's about Spanish language, guys. It's about growing the league to passionate soccer fans. They don't, you might be a Tigres fan. You don't have to become a diehard FC Cincinnati fan living in Cincinnati, but you can still be a Tigres fan, but you're going to pay attention more. And we need more eyeballs, more people following. Look at the darn Rose Bowl this past weekend. 83,000 fans. LAFC versus LA Galaxy. That's not all soccer moms. That's diehards. People getting interested. More games, more atmosphere is going to bring more fans. The U.S. Open Cup does not bring that. It is not. The Leagues Cup is not an all-star game.
Could we do it?
Bringing more stars.
You brought it up, so I'm going to go there. Could we do it? Columbus, Cincinnati, Ohio State Stadium. Could we fill it?
Why would we want to go to Columbus and play in Ohio State Stadium? Why?
See, I'm old enough. I went to a Columbus Crew game in 1996, I think, something like that, at Ohio Stadium, and there were less than 1,000 people there, I swear. You talk about a cavern. But I've also been to the Rose Bowl to see the Galaxy in the late 90s. On a Sunday afternoon, it was like 100 degrees out. Again, there are about 1,000 people in the stands. So I know how far MLS has come.
God, to Rob's point, guess what? 3 years ago, Columbus Crew was playing, or 4 years ago, where it was Columbus Crew were playing U.S. Open Cup matches in Jesse Owens Memorial Stadium on the campus of The Ohio State University. That's how much we really care about U.S. Open Cup.
I mean, they used to play it up in Akron, too.
Come on. Yeah, guys, I know. Seriously.
Yeah.
Get on the Leagues Cup train. Get on the Leagues Cup train. Do it.
If the Mexican teams take it seriously,
I am waiting to see who takes it seriously.
Yeah,
CONCACAF. There's like 9 CONCACAF Champions League something stupid.
No, seriously, the credibility of the tournament.
There's 3 extra ones, but
the credibility of Leagues Cup is going to come down to how do MLS teams treat it and how do Mexican teams treat it. If everybody rolls out a B team like they do for US Open Cup, it's going to have the US Open Cup effect.
But it's gonna start like that. You're gonna have those group stage matches, even those 2 each. You're not gonna have every single player, but you might have 80 or 11 starters versus 3 of your 11 starters. Okay, it's gonna be like that. But dude, when you get into these crazy knockout stage matches, I mean, it's going to be off the charts, guys. There's going to be traveling. It's going to be tough to get tickets. I'm telling you, it's going to be nuts.
I think, and I was actually having this conversation with Mark on the Seeing Red podcast earlier, so spoiler alert, but he asked me about it. And I said, I think with the issue that I think I have and a lot of FC Cincinnati fans have is that we are playing for so much right now.
Yeah, we have
it is,
multiple teams.
We're one of 2. We're one of 4 teams playing for anything right now.
Well, but that's the thing. We're on pace to have one of the best seasons in MLS history.
I do have a hard time.
Supporter shield.
I know what you're saying.
We're in the semifinals of a national tournament, and then if we do well in the regular season, we'll have pretty much home field advantage throughout the entire playoffs. So you're asking me, I want the team to do well, but then you're also asking me to care about this Leagues Cup where our first game is against Sporting Kansas City. Like that's kind of hard for me to get excited about when we have so much on our plate right now.
We are one market and there's 50 teams in this tournament.
I get that. Some teams might care, but I'm with Jason.
Maths.
We are 2 games away from a U.S. Open Cup. We are Supporter Shield is more likely than the freaking Leagues Cup trophy right now. So it's hard to.
Were you excited about? Were you excited about a U.S. Open Cup run 4 months ago when this first thing started? No, you get excited when you get in the position. And guess what? RSL is playing very well right now. Maybe they make a Leagues Cup, or maybe they make a Leagues Cup run and they re-energize. Maybe Chicago Fire, who the MLS needs to become a powerhouse. Maybe this is their launch up run. I'm telling you, it's so many options. It's like the Clausura Apertura. Everybody wants. It's another way to get excited about a trophy. Like isn't like the NBA doing this stupid thing too? The same exact thing.
They're doing an internal.
And I called it stupid, so you're welcome.
Well, you must need this to be exciting if you're trying to pump up the Chicago Fire right now.
I like how this has become Leagues Cup talk.
Free parking. Free parking. They came out today and said, we're going to give all our season ticket holders free parking.
Sorry if you tuned in to Cincinnati Soccer Talk tonight for United States and Charlotte Talk.
Hey, you still haven't asked me about my Boupendza press conference today.
Yeah, we're getting there. We're getting there. We just got really sidetracked. All right, before we get sidetracked anymore, let's throw this to Beyond Exercise, and then we will come back and we can talk about whatever you guys want. If you want to go to Boupendza next, we'll go to Boupendza next.
Beyond Exercise is a locally owned physical therapy and fitness facility that helps people prevent and rehab from injuries, improve fitness and athleticism, and recover from strains of daily life. In fact, they've worked with a couple of your FCC starting 11 over the past 3 off seasons. Check out their website to see who these players are and to see the range of services they provide to keep you pain-free and moving well at GoBeyondExercise.com.
All right, back at it. And thanks to Beyond Exercise for being a great supporter of a local soccer media. Check them out. I believe they're close to downtown, so go ahead and go down there and let them know we're there. And I believe they'll give you a discount just for saying, hey, you listen to Cincinnati Soccer Talk. So if you're like me and you need to get in shape, that's a great place to go. All right, Brian, you went down today and met our brand new starting striker, supposedly better than Brenner, gonna fix all of our Brandon Vazquez woes, Boupendza.
Okay, so first off, I was on the Zoom because I have work responsibilities, so don't rat me out to anybody. Jeremy Miller got some great photos, though.
Yeah.
Real quick, no, I was very excited. I want to say I was very impressed with my first, I would say, interaction. We'll call it. That's probably not the right word, but with Aaron Boupendza. So we all get on this call, or you're there at the several of the media were there at the Mercy Health Training Center, and the media team kind of starts, okay, guys, we're going to talk in French. Here's the what do you call it, translator. And so he starts talking in French, and Aaron's there, and like immediately, dude breaks out into English, and it's a little broken English, but Aaron was trying to engage and talk to all the reporters in his non-native language today. And he did very well, presented himself very well. And that just shows me a little bit of a maturity that he's invested in this market. He's trying to actively engage. I mean, he could totally have sold out and just rolled with French, like his normal language. I was just very impressed. And then how he handled himself and how he went into explain how this wasn't just an immediate signing. It was a long drawn out process. He had communications with FC Cincinnati. He met with Hunter Freeman. He engaged with Coach Noonan, Obi Wobodo, speaking to him through on social media, and I think he said Instagram at one point. And it was just very impressive about how he handled himself in this whole thing. Very complimentary of Lucho Acosta and how excited he was to play with a group of really good players. He loved how the team was playing, and he really wants to be that guy that helps takes this group to the next level, kind of completing the bunch. He was open and honest, like, this team is very talented and first place. And, I think I'm mature enough to understand that I'm that guy that needs to come in here and keep, perform and take us to the championship. So it was very exciting to hear him talk. Please go on fccincinnati.com and I think fccincinnati.com/video and check out the whole press conference. It really was something very positive. And again, it kind of speaks to that whole thing where it looks like our new ownership group is really checking a lot of boxes and trying to outline and define the right people to bring in.
I think one of the coolest things I saw online, can you speak of this, is they asked him about Acosta because they said, hey, are you aware of the guy that's going to be serving you up balls? And he seemed to already have like some knowledge of him already.
Yeah, he did. He did say that earlier, how Lucho's a great player. Albright also talked about how to integrate Boupendza and Dom Badji. I guess I never knew this. He speaks French. I think Dom actually might speak like 5 languages. So he said that Dom has been kind of linking up a lot more with Aaron and, at the lunchroom and trying to get him involved, speaking to him in French. So a lot of things that maybe were not taken care of in the past, like, maybe let's say a Portuguese translator, seem to be taken a little bit differently. I know we've kind of talked about this before, but Albright, when he was asked about it, really brought up the Turkish league and how they really looked at his time in the Turkish league versus the Qatari league and the Saudi league, and how he performed and how they think that those stats can translate. And it wasn't just the goals, it was pressing guys and turning over guys and playing fast. And they really liked how Aaron was able to do that and hit those metrics outside of your standard scoring, assists, things like that. So very exciting to see how they just kind of peeking behind the curtain to see how the club goes and recruits players, that data-driven metric system that they're talking about. So I'm pretty excited.
Do you think we see him Wednesday against Red Bulls?
So that's a great question. Albright did say, and I tweeted this with the wrong word. I said access versus assess on Twitter. He did say that they were going to assess him this week and in relation to this weekend. So I think the earliest you're going to see him is this weekend. Okay. Following on that, though, Albright did go into how they want to rest some players going into that Leagues Cup time frame and then integrate them in those Leagues Cup matches. So I think they would like to see Aaron get ready, but also they need to, kind of look that Lucho is going to be going to the All-Star game. Barreal is going to be going to the All-Star game. They already got heavy legs. You got Miazga and Vazquez coming in with heavy legs. So I think you're going to need to have Aaron be that spark plug in the Leagues Cup. And I would really look to see him maybe start going those 90s there versus this weekend in Nashville, maybe more of a cameo versus Nashville.
It's kind of smart if you think about it, getting a guy ready in a game that maybe doesn't mean as much, but will still have a decent crowd because all the tickets were given to FC Cincinnati season ticket holders. So I think it's a fairly smart idea, to be honest with you.
Plus, in the meantime, we've got the Kubo Santos strike partnership.
Oof.
So I wanted to go into that talking about Charlotte. I don't know if we can go into it or not still, but that's a great point. I think we still had like we had a decent possession. I think we were still like 50-50 when all was said and done, something around there. Yeah. Kubo and Santos cannot hold up the ball. The only person that can maintain possession in the attack right now is Lucho Acosta. Like, we need Aaron he can't just be a runner. Like, he needs to be able to hold that ball up and create for others. Santos and Badji for that matter. I think Badji does a pretty good job holding up the play, but Santos just has, he's a little rough right now. So you got to keep that in mind. But we need to get in that next gear. And we've seen that when Kubo comes off the bench, Santos comes off the bench, they're great in 15, 20-minute bursts.
Yeah.
But over that 60, 70, 90, they have moments of flashes, but they're just not the quality we need to win a Supporters Shield or win a MLS Cup.
I think that's one of the things that I really liked about Brenner is that he was able to hold on to the ball a little bit. He was pretty good on the ball. As much as I love Brandon Vazquez, that's not his game. He's more of a receive and shoot, in my opinion. I'm excited to see Boupendza and how he's going to link up with Vazquez, because just watching some of his highlights, I think he's going to be a little bit better on the ball, and that's going to give Lucho and Vazquez somebody else to kind of play off of as we move forward.
I'd push back on that a little bit, Jason. I thought that's one part of his game that Vazquez has improved upon this year, and because he didn't have Brenner to play off of.
Right, yeah.
So he was kind of having to set up. But like this week, how did we score? We scored on a PK, and we scored on a nutmeg from Lucho, basically passing through another guy to Barreal, who created something out of magic. The Don Baggio goal this past weekend, again, was a really long pass. Mm-hmm. So we need somebody that can maintain and hold up that possession in the final third if we're going to really jump to the next level.
Yeah, I think Boupendza hopefully is going to be that player.
Really, it's just about getting back to where we started the year, because FC Cincinnati's was fire, and we're in a lull because we're missing guys. And if Boupendza can, in my opinion, Brian, if Boupendza can just do what Brenner did last year, we'll be awesome. We'll be amazing. We'll be out of the ballpark. But that's the big question, because FC Cincinnati strikers coming in from international, any international side, to be honest with you, outside of Lucho, who had already played in Major League Soccer, have struggled. Do you anticipate that happening again? In which case, Boupendza is still a good signing, but it won't be a good signing until next year.
You guys are so good today. I love you guys asking me these questions. Albright mentioned that they had to pivot on their strategy. They're first in the league. They're sitting in Supporters Shield, and they want to keep maintaining that. Their original mentality was bring in a young DP, have an additional U22 player, which we were talking about, guys, earlier. Remember we were talking about bringing in a UDP?
Yeah, that was the smartest financial choice.
Yeah, YDP striker, maybe a U22 center back. And they said, we're going to throw all of our cards on the table here and go out and get a proven player. And I think this guy is going to have to be that proven product. He doesn't have the time to come in and putts around, I guess. Now, if he does and he isn't as sharp, guess what? We got that brutal attacking duo of Kubo and Santos, but we do have other options if we need to bridge that gap, and we can integrate him slowly. He doesn't have to come out versus Nashville and play 90 minutes. He can play 20 minutes. He can go in the Leagues Cup and play 45 minutes the first game, 60 minutes the next game. Hell, we can put him in MLS next, baby.
What do you think are the chances? Is the window closed for FC Cincinnati? Are we going to see any more moves? Do we even have the money to make any more moves?
I'm calling it closed.
That seems like we've cashed out of the poker table for this window.
Was it CincinnatiSoccerTalk.com/budgettracker.gov.co? Or what's Shelby's.ca? That's the thing that gets me. I think we're done. Albright did say on his interview, we are always looking to improve the club, but I don't think we necessarily need to more this cycle. I think we all would love another center back. We're all in our heads right now because Nick Hagelin didn't play well against a top 5 striker in the league, and Ian Murphy made 2 bonehead errors. I mean, we're just a little nervous right now. So I see why we're all a little antsy. And yes, we'd always love to improve, but there just isn't the money there unless Don Garber comes out of the sky with a bunch of fun bucks and says, teams, here's another $500,000 because we're giving 8 DPs to Miami.
Yeah, I think you're going to see Miami move players like they already have. They're offloading a DP that's very upset about it. So
Yeah. I mean,
It looks to me like that's going to be in the rules.
I personally actually don't think MLS is changing the rules this year because they've already talked about Jordi Alba is going to be a half-season TAM player. Busquets is going to be a DP. And then you see Toronto, which is like one of those big market teams that normally can finagle things, Atlanta. Sorry. Atlanta is one of those big market teams that has to can get away with some stuff. They had to offload a U22 player for peanuts because they were out of compliance. So I don't think there is that. Maybe a little bit of fun money. I'm talking low change, but I don't really see it this year.
Maybe we'll be in a situation where like LA Galaxy or somebody tries to bring in an extra DP and has to unload, and we can be the beneficiary of that. Get a U22 or a center back that's on the bench.
It'd have to be a Western Conference team because, unfortunately, all the teams trying to get away with compliance issues are all Eastern Conference teams, and they're sending their players out west. And I'm like, come on, boys!
I mean, if you go on our budget tracker online, we technically are like 180,000 under or over cap. We don't know what all these hits are going to be in terms of the. I think Boupendza. I think we account for him as a half of a cap charge. Is it less because he's only playing 20 games? I don't know that answer. I'm sure there's ways they can finagle it. Really, the only option I can see us adding a player is somehow if we sell an international spot for $150K or trade for another player. That's just the only way I see it. And I'm not even really sure how it all fits now. We added Brett Halsey, and do we have that 20th spot anymore?
Honestly, to be honest though, you're spoiled if you're still asking for more players because most teams in this league are not sitting as pretty as FC Cincinnati is with the lineup. Most teams don't have Vazquez, Boupendza, Acosta, Barrial, Miazga. Like we have a really freaking good lineup. It's just that we don't get our first choice lineup all the time now.
You saw it this week. Sorry, Rob. I'm sorry.
No, it's right.
You saw it this weekend for Charlotte, guys. After their first group, they had nothing, and we were still able to put on additional players like Angulo and get back in the game. Not many people can do that.
Not just for Charlotte, but over this whole stretch between some of the injuries, the suspensions, Mascara with his visa issues, the national team guys, and yet here we are. We're still 7 points ahead of both St. Louis and Eastern
Nashville.
Conference, second place. Thank you.
The team we don't care about. It's rivalry week, and it's rivalry week versus New York. Everybody.
Well, you want to talk about depth? Let's look at Nashville because if you lose to Nashville, you're going to lose because Hanny's going to go out there and do something crazy, or Shuffleberg is going to come in the end of the match and get one down the stretch. They have Zimmerman as center back. That's it. I'm done naming Nashville players because it's tough. They don't have a striker. They will even admit they don't have strikers.
I'm going to Google and see if Shuffleberg is his real name.
Shuffleboard?
Shuffle
something
Canadian? Rather. Yeah. But he's their Santos. He comes in the last 20 minutes and he either wins the game or he fizzles out. But he's essentially Santos 2.0, slightly better.
Did I see something? Go ahead, Brian.
No, go.
Didn't I see something about Mukhtar being linked with a team in Qatar?
Yeah, that rumor broke.
Yeah, but apparently he married a Nashville supermodel or something on the field at Geodis Park. So there's no way he could ever leave.
It would be so wrong of Nashville to hold him back from, moving on and expanding his career horizons in Qatar.
And as far as
when you get an offer, you need to sell right then and there. Just do it.
As far as his wife goes, there's some really nice places to live in Qatar. You could do a lot of really nice photo shoots at some of those high rises they have. I mean, come on.
They have all these empty soccer stadiums they just built. He could play in any one of them.
I'll be honest with them or about this situation is that I wouldn't blame him if he left. And I wouldn't blame him if he stayed. He makes $3 million a year, or $3.3 million a year. He's a top player in this league. He can basically write his own check in Nashville right now. But can you turn down $20 million a year in Qatar if that's what they're offering? And they're saying that they're offering Nashville a huge transfer fee. But again, it's like that would be a big deal in Norway, but that's not a huge transfer fee here is just like icing on the cake. It's not really a huge motivator unless you're talking about like 30, 40 million bucks. I don't know, but he's 28 years old. It's the last payday.
Yeah.
I mean, the good news of the week, I'm surprised none of you brought it up as your best, is that we tie a game and we still somehow gain because 2, 3, and 4 all lost or drew.
We did get some help in the standings, which was marvelous.
We got some help by Pro, baby. Love them.
Didn't they come back today and say that they messed up?
They screwed up versus the New England game. New England scored a goal. They waved it offside via VAR, and then they came back and they said that was the wrong call.
Yeah, so a little help there.
Man, that's real tough losing a game on a terrible offside call. We don't know anything about that.
I will say this. I was not on last week's show, but looking at New England, and now they just added a U22 forward and Ian Harkes. Guys, New England is going to be the team to beat. I think when us number 1, I think they're going to be number 2.
No, I like them a lot better than Nashville because they're a more complete team.
Mm-hmm.
Nashville's got the league likely MVP, but New England's got a team.
And they got the biggest goober in Major League Soccer, Omar Gonzalez. So let's go.
And we also saw today that Borussia Mönchengladbach is still interested in Brandon Vazquez. So
really,
yeah, that was
just watched that one header last night.
That was out there on the Bird app. They're not offering what he's valued on Transfer Market. So, but we're supposed to sell him because we're holding him back from his dreams. If the only way that I would sell Vazquez before the season's over is if they immediately do a loan back for the rest of the season.
You can't take our best player without making money. Yeah.
So, okay, somebody asked me this on Twitter. I think my price for him, again, it matters. Chris Albart, you listen. $7 million in a buyback or a loan back for whatever to the end of the year. $7 million. I think that's fair. It gives him his dream job or his dream move. He's not extremely high performing right now, so I think that's fair. Or 10 million. If you want him right now, $10 million.
3 million
euro. 10 million euro. What'd you say?
I said 3 million for the rest of the season.
$7 million. Yeah, 7 million. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I think it's opportunity cost. I mean, he's gone anyway. You show that you can move fringe players up like that. Like that's what he was. He was a fringe player when he got here, and put him in the right positions. What else? What else could you do? Look at Barreal.
If we win the U.S. Open Cup, then I'll let him go because we already have one trophy in the bag.
You'd like to think he would want to stay in a season where he has a chance to win 4 trophies.
To be fair, he clearly is he wants to go, but he's still hyped about finishing the season, or else he would be pitching a fit, and he's not. I think he understands the reality of the situation. He agreed to the contract he signed.
Publicly.
He's okay with it. Yeah, I think so.
I think he's. I mean, I'm not reading his mind, but I think he's enjoying himself. I think last night, seeing the reaction
he loved
of the fans
last night,
chanting for him. I think he's enjoying his time here, and I don't think this is a Brenner situation where he sees this as just like a stop off. He does understand, hey, I've still got work to do before I get sold, and the club's not going to hold anybody back, contrary to what former U.S. men's national team players think. The club will sell if the opportunity is there.
I don't care how he does for FC Cincinnati. He gets to the Gold Cup final and scores against Mexico. His stock still went up internationally. So
yeah, I'm okay if they make the semis.
All right, well, let's touch on it just for a brief second. FC Cincinnati surviving thus far, but with last night's United States win, we're at least 2 more games out with no Brandon and no Matt. Yeah, what's the shaky hand?
They could lose on Wednesday.
That's why I just was in for. It just went right over his head, Jason. Right over.
What?
Yeah.
You think they're going to lose to Panama?
Go Panama.
They won at TQL. We got that done. Now,
No, I think, there's no fourth place game. So I kind of wrote it today somewhere. I think he's going to be out, and plus you don't want to force those guys to. That's a lot. That's a lot.
Even if they play Wednesday, I don't know if they're starting versus Nashville.
Could you imagine though the crowd in the 80th minute or 70th minute subbing on Miazga, Vazquez, and Boupendza? Holy smackaroos!
that would be crazy.
Oh man,
I wouldn't even know which one to cheer for.
And then after they sub those three guys on, Lucho and Barriel combined for the winning goal.
Oh, how about the Stones?
Brilliant.
How about the Stones on Lucho and Barrial with like 10 minutes to go in the game? I think Ian Murphy was out, and they do that corner trick again where he tries to do that volley. It was like a foot over. I'm like, oh my, the Stones on these two guys.
Yeah, they'll try anything, anywhere, anytime.
Screw ESPN. We are one of the top 2 most watchable teams in Major League Soccer. Prove me wrong.
You're talking about their watchability? Yeah, that was stupid.
Dumbest, and they update it every week too.
Who do they say are the 2
Columbus Crew?
No,
Columbus scores a lot of goals, but also gives up a lot of goals. So
looking at you, Gustavo Vicia.
I do say Miazga will start Wednesday against Panama. I'm pretty sure about that. Jalen Neal's actually had a pretty good tournament, but he was out of his depth in that quarterfinal match, and Miazga came in. You don't usually see center back subbed in, right, with whatever it was, 15 minutes or to go. I thought he really steadied the ship for the U.S. and made a big difference. I'm sure he'll start versus Panama. I'm not sure about Brandon.
And people are, and I made a joke about his effort for Schaufelberg on that goal, but the guy didn't want to make a foul in a dangerous position. He was conceding space, and he was thinking, I'm going to limit all the angles, and it took a freak deflection.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yes, he should have closed him down, but the opportunity, it's risk. That XG on that goal is nothing. So
I thought that goal was a little more on Jesus Ferreira when they gave up the ball on the right side.
Oh, yeah. Sure.
Reynolds, and then Ferreira kind of gave up trying to chase him down.
Well, these guys kept talking about Leagues Cup all night, so I ran out of time. I'm not going to read all the names this week, but big shout out to all of you that support Cincinnati Soccer Talk on Patreon. You know what? How about this? If you want to see the people that keep this website and this podcast free for every Cincinnati fan out there to keep listening each week, go on Patreon, sign up. You throw us a couple bucks to keep things running, and then you can read all the names there. So there's a little bit of a teaser if you or you could just listen to last week's episode. But anyway, let's get in your final thoughts, guys. We have to get out of here. It's been well over an hour at this point, so we'll jump into final thoughts. Rob, you get to go first.
Well, it is a great time right now. There's so much going on with the new signing, with the USA, with just this great season that the Orange and Blue are having. So I'm thoroughly enjoying it. I do want to point out to everybody, in case you missed it, the Gold Cup is played every 2 years, not every 1 year. Sorry about that, Grandma Ziegler. You told me to tell the truth all the time. I got that one.
Honest mistake.
She also said you'll go blind if you do that thing all the time too. So
don't. I never make a mistake, Rob, so I wouldn't know what it's like, but. We'll throw it over to which one of you's laughing the least? Jason, we'll give it to you next.
What a great time to be just a Cincinnati sports fan in general. This has been like the best month in a while. Knock on wood here. With the Reds and Ellie De La Cruz just doing crazy stuff that hasn't been done in 100 years. And the Bengals are looking good for this year. And then we got FC Cincinnati playing well. I've got people coming up to me at work who don't give a fig about soccer asking about FC Cincinnati all the time. And that's just really exciting. So, make sure you're supporting all the local teams that you can. I know ticket prices are through the roof, but try to go out and visit the Red Legs on Tuesdays. It's 3-2-1 night, and also support them, and if you can, support the Bengals, because we are in for a great year. UC starting the Big 12, and it's going to be a fun fall, hopefully, here in the Queen City.
My 60-something-year-old CEO came over today to me, and he said, I'm going to the FC Cincinnati game for the first time in my life. I'm sitting in the Bailey. Where's that? You heard of the
Bailey? You won't be sitting.
Is he the kind of guy who's gonna maybe not dress up, but dress nicer to go to
I was
game?
I told him, I said, you have no idea what you just did.
Great people watching. Great people.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
So warning, Bailey, treat the nonprofit CEO with care this weekend. All right, Bri.
I just want to echo your thoughts. I think we're going to have a lot of things coming up here in the next month or two about ways to interact with more FC Cincinnati fans, a special soccer tournament perhaps just kind of coming out. So just stay tuned, Cincinnati Soccer Talkers, if you want to play some soccer. Also, you're talking about events. I got asked for our local soccer club today. They want to do a huge blowout watch party for FC Cincinnati versus Inter Miami. They want to do on a Wednesday night in August. They want to do a festival, essentially celebrating FC Cincinnati. Get involved. If you don't have, instead of selling your tickets on secondary market, try to invite somebody, get somebody involved. Yeah, I know it's easy to take the $70 a ticket and run right now because, come on, it's a lot easier giving away tickets when we were bad for free. But, guys, just do what you can do to get people involved and keep pushing everybody to get involved in this fun FCC train.
Hey, man, you guys had great points tonight. I don't even know where to take it after this, except for thanks for listening to another episode of Cincinnati Soccer Talk. We're back on pace. So you got spoiled a little bit with Thursday, Monday. If you think there's going to be another Thursday, hold on for dear life and pray to anyone you can pray to. I don't know if your prayers will be answered, but we enjoy talking and having fun with you guys. There are midweek shows. I think Jeff Tebbets is back at it, and Coach, of course, will be back at it this week. So stay tuned. We've got plenty of stuff coming on the website. We hope Facebook lets us back on the airwaves soon. We've served our purgatory for whatever we did wrong. We actually have no idea, so that'll be fun to figure out. See ya next week.